Is it on? It's on. Hi. Welcome. My name is Michelle, and this is the Au Fil des Jours podcast, vlog, video, channel. I don't know. If you are new, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back, and welcome also. I haven't recorded since I think it was the day before New Year's Eve. So this is my first video for 2023, I guess. But I had a lot of things I wanted to share with you, and not a lot, but some things I wanted to share with you. And I knew that if I waited even 2 more weeks, some of them, it'll be too warm to wear, or, I'm going to get busy with the garden. So I was really thinking about what I wanted to do with this space, and initially when I started, I was not working full-time. I had just retired from being self-employed, and I kind of was in a transition time in my life, and I've since taken full-time employment outside of the house. So now I have a lot less quiet time at home. Usually if I'm home, everyone else is home. So I share a small house in Southern Ontario with my partner, our 2 sons, 2 large dogs. My kids' friends sometimes are here. We also have some hens. And anyways, we have a pretty full and bustling house. Not that the hens are in the house, but there's always something to do, and there's always people here in and out, and that's all fantastic. But I used to live a much more quiet daytime existence when everyone was out doing their things. And since COVID, and now especially since many people are working from home, and I tend to be the one who's most out of the home, weekends they're just about catching up, and oftentimes can be very busy and bustly. So I don't know. I think that the format that I thought initially is going to change. I kind of figured I would do like one large video every 6 weeks or so as a catch up, but I think what's going to work better now is multiple short videos, just to keep myself motivated as well, and keep myself accountable, and keep myself inspired, because I know many of you work regular day jobs and then have your creative pursuits outside of work. It is mind-numbing. Like, it is just, I honestly have never knit so little as I do now. So anyways, enough of that. That's not that interesting to talk about. What is interesting is why we're here, which is the fiber and etc. So I guess I'll start with finished objects. I don't have that many. I did finish Sam's very large field day jacket, but I don't have photos, and the buttons are not done. He decided he wanted to do them himself, so he also works. That might be a minute before we get to that. It might be, he's been wearing that sweater constantly, but just without buttons, and I haven't gotten photos of it yet. So maybe once the weather is a little nicer and he wears it less, I'll get my hands on it and get it finished. As I mentioned in previous podcasts, my family, all 3 of my family members here, love their knits and wear them constantly. Sorry if you can hear the siren outside. Wear them constantly, and so even asking them to wait until I've posted a picture of them, or even wait until I weave in the ends, can sometimes be more than they're willing to. When my kids were little, they would just grab one sock and take off with it, and while I knit the other sock. So I'm very lucky that way. But yeah, it means that I don't always have really pretty pictures to show, because they're being used, which is the point. Anyhow, enough yakking. I will start with finished objects. So that big sweater is done. He loves it, and I have discussed it at length in previous posts. I will post it in another post when we finally get the buttons made for it. But it is a very large, and yes, it was a labor of love. It's a beautiful sweater. For 2023, I had made a decision that I would knit solely for myself for this calendar year. So my partner has taken over his sock knitting for now. If you've watched before, you know that I had a pile of sock yarn that I was going to make him a whole bunch of socks, and they were almost done, but he decided he wanted to start knitting again, so he started those, so they're no longer in my WIP pile, they're his. And my large blanket, my scrappy blanket, has been taken over by my youngest, who is now bringing that blanket everywhere he goes and working on that. So those are 2 WIPs that are off my list, which left me lots of room to knit for myself, which brings me to this. So this, I'll start with this one, what I'm wearing. This is the Wednesday sweater by Petite Knit. It is modified. I have knit it before for someone else, and I knew it was a very long, like a longer sweater, and I am short, so I'm going to stand up and show you. I'll show it to you, and then we'll talk about what it's made of. So I made it cropped. I don't know if you can see there. I made it really cropped, which it kind of looks funny now in this at this angle, but I made it really short, but my waist is here. So when I wear really long, and I'm quite busty, so when I wear really long sweaters, it just looks like I just look like, you know, it is boxy, way oversized, you know, yeah. Otherwise, I think I changed the sleeves. I did them mostly one, yeah, see here, I did them all one length and then quick decrease, and then a little bit longer cuff, I think, than what she had in the pattern, maybe. I did do the split hem, a little bit longer in the back. I wear this to work a lot because it's quite cold in our office, and yeah. I did spin for this. I don't know if you can see how fuzzy. Can you see how fuzzy? You can see there. See this here. So this is Bosco's last 2 fleeces, last 2 molts, if you will, blended with one strand of floofy. So it's quite light, actually. The Angora does add like some drape, like kind of like alpaca, but it is really thin. I'm going to show you. So the color was this regular gray floofy, which I love knitting with. I have to get a lot more of this. I just held 1 strand, and then I held 1 strand of this 2-ply, quite thin, like this is a quite thin of Angora, and this is what I got. So I thought it might be itchy. I thought that I don't know, at first I kind of felt like it was a waste of the Angora to blend it with something so, I don't want to say itchy, rustic. But actually the Angora kind of puffs out past what the Icelandic does. So all I really feel is the Angora. I don't think I would make this for a gift knit. I wouldn't give this away. I think it is a little bit more prickly than people would wear against their skin as a big turtleneck like this. But for me, it's perfect. One of the things that's happened is that because my line of work has dramatically shifted, what I want to knit now is completely different. So this would not have been practical in my old life. This fine, you know, super fluffy, kind of luxurious sweater would have not been appropriate for hanging out with dogs all day and going in the bush with. And but for right now, it is perfect. So yeah, it is quite chilly in the office at a desk. You just get cold sitting there. It's just not a very cozy environment, so this helps feel really cozy. So I usually wear this with like some dark dress pants or like these black jeans, for example. And yeah, I've been wearing it pretty often. I was talking with, not talking really, I was chatting with Anna at Bluebird Box, and she was saying she had never tried Angora in the place of a silk mohair or in the place of a brushed alpaca. For myself, I find silk mohair to be excessively itchy. Oh, I forgot the hat. It's downstairs. I did make myself a hat. I've made other things of what I'm going to show here, but I did make myself a hat that was 1 strand of Targhee hand spun. and one strand of kid silk, super kid silk mohair, which is really soft. This one from Sugar Bush, this drizzle. And it's not itchy, like it's not prickly. But after an hour or so of, like, I walk a lot and I take transit to work and things, it just gets, I'm just sensitive to it. And I recognize that it's not, like, it's soft. It's really soft. But for me, something about mohair and alpaca as well. I do have a couple of Oslo hats that I knit with an alpaca blend. And oh man, after hiking for, I don't know, 20 minutes, I just start rubbing at my head, which is fine. I'm okay with it, but I wouldn't necessarily, yeah. So Angora for me is a nice alternative to add some fuzz to really rustic yarns, or just to be cute. I also like keeping Angoras. I've always wanted to have a farm or have fiber animals of my own, and being in an urban center, obviously sheep and goats are not going to happen. I have lovely people around me who raise beautiful, healthy sheep, so really there's no shortage of this. But having rabbits kind of gives me a little taste of that. And they also, you know, produce fertilizer for the garden, which is my other obsession. So I like having them. I currently have two. One is what's considered chestnut. So she's we'll talk about her after, but she's kind of on the brown beige scale, and he here is considered black. So he's almost like a blue-gray, like cooler gray scale. And I'll talk a little bit more about them at the end. But anyways, yeah, so that's my Wednesday sweater with one strand hand-spun 2-ply Angora of my own and one strand of Plotulopi. So it is pretty light and airy, and I made it cropped, and I love it. It you know, it's not, I look like a great big marshmallow in it. I don't really care. It's really comfortable and, yeah, keeps me warm while I'm at work. The other thing I finished a little while ago, so I've been wearing them as well, and I didn't even glean them before showing you here, but I'll just put it on my hand so you can see, is I finished is it Into the Woods socks? I don't remember what they're called now. I'll put the name. Into the Woods, I think they go like this, but you know, it's supposed to be a tree by B. Mandarin. You see? And see there's a tree, and then there's these eyelets. I hope you can see them. And I continued the design of the eyelets a little bit in the back too. I made them a little bit higher, and I made a picot edge. I don't really remember if there was a picot edge in the pattern. So I decided to make them with tuku wool sock because I love that stuff, and I decided to use all of it, or as much of it as I could, for the socks. So I do have these now as a pair of socks, and they sat around for a really, really long time, over a year. I didn't get the bundle. She does have like a sock bundle. Oh, I'll have to get the name of it. I don't remember now. I didn't get the bundle. I just got these because I saw a picture of her wearing them, and it was like one of those instant impulsive moments. I'm like, I have to make those socks. But then I remembered something about myself, which is I don't really like finicky knitting. I do and I don't, because then the next thing I'm going to show you, you're going to say, well, that's finicky. Like, I spin and I love color work, but these are all tiny little cables, and it just wasn't appealing. So I love them as socks. I'm happy to have these pretty socks. I wish I liked knitting lace and really pretty things, because I really like the finished product, but this is just not me. I can never remember where I am in the chart. I think it just doesn't speak to me the same way as color work does. I don't know if any of you are like that. Anyways, so that's a finished object. And then for works in progress, I have two. I don't have very many anymore because I'm only knitting for myself now. So I only have two things. So while I'm on socks, I would like to show you my sad my sad socks that I'm, you know, progressing so slowly at. I'm taking part in the sock spin along. Is it sock spin along, Carrie? My Wool Mittens sock spin along this year, which I did last year, and I made these. These here, I don't know if I've ever shown them here. These are my socks from last year, and I took Icelandic, alpaca, Angora certainly, a whole bunch of scrap wools, and I just put them through the drum carder till it looked like this, and then I spun it pretty tight, 2-ply, and then I made these for the first sock spin along. And I love these socks. They're my favorite socks. These are the I'm gonna have a good day socks, you know. I did a rib at the top, a 1x1, and then I did use Tuga wool for the heel and toe. Oh, I didn't use it for the toe, for the heel, to make it a little tougher because I do walk a lot in boots. So yeah, I tend to be a bit rough on socks, but these have held up really well. They are getting a bit felted because alpaca does that. They are sort of felting a bit, but the look of this yarn, I just love it. I don't know if I have more. This is my stash, by the way. Yes, I still have more of the yarn. Look at this yarn, how it turned out. I'm so grateful to Carrie for kind of encouraging us to do this. Here's the yarn. I'm gonna get out of the way here. I don't know if you can see all the little bits. It's really nice. It turned out so lovely. And in my head, something like this is too nice for socks. But I know this is all of the extra bits of fluff that I don't really know what to do with. It just sits around. So I made it into socks. And I absolutely love these socks. And they've worn really well. I would say it's not a fingering weight. It's a, what is this, a DK weight? DK, maybe? I don't know. I'm a spinner. I'm supposed to know these things, but I don't. Anyway, I love these socks. I love them so much. So I'm making another pair for this year. Actually, I made more than one because I made some for my youngest out of this. I don't know if you can see this right here. This, I kind of went on a roll after using up all my scraps. So this one, I think this one is it 2-ply? Yeah, it is 2-ply. Oh, and they turned out really nice. I guess I should show you the socks, but he probably has them on. He never takes them off. So yeah, spin for socks. It's a good idea. So this year, I'm standing instead of sitting, but you know. Okay, here we go. This year, I spun this. So this one is some CVN that's like oatmeal colored. I don't have it handy. So, and this is a bunch of scraps of different, I don't even know everything that's in here. So I'm knitting them together, and this is what it turned out like. It's really stiff yet. I'm knitting them really tight because there's no long wools in here. There's nothing. There's no alpaca, no mohair. It's just wool. So I'm knitting them really tight. The CVM also is really lanolin-y, so I think once I give it a good wash, it's gonna bloom, get really nice. But here you go. That's how it turned out. Really tweedy and beautiful. I really love it. I love the smell of it too. It's really sheepy. I love the pops of yellow in that heel. Yeah. So that's as far as I've gotten since February. The other ones last year, I knit them in like a week. I don't even know if it was a week. It was like a car trip and I made them. Done. And then, but what I do with these is I keep them in my little bag here. And I actually bring them to the office. So on my lunch or during a meeting when I'm not doing anything with my hands, I just need to pay attention with my eyes, I can knit a little bit on them. And I keep them in my Mimi Must Knit bag. So they come with me to work every day. They come with me on the bus every day. So, well, not every day. I don't take the bus every day, but you know what I mean. So they're around if I need them. And hopefully I'll get them on my feet before it gets cold. I mean, before it gets warm. It's not even, like, these are pretty thick socks. Like, it should take me nothing to get them done, but that's the way my life is now. Anyways, so there's these. So I haven't forgotten Carrie. They're here. The other work in progress I have, I need a drink. I'm talking too fast and too much. Just having a soda water. Other thing, as soon as I got done with this one, oh, I don't even know if I was completely done. Yeah, like I was like about to cast it off, and I was like, okay, next, need another sweater. I think it's called The Winter Woods by Jessica McDonald. Is it Winter Woods? Names are not good for me right today. Words. Okay, so this is as far as I've gotten. It is a beautiful color work. It doesn't, I mean, you could do it in more color than what I've done here. Pretty much just making what she made. In her pattern, it's a little modified. In her pattern, I think she's using one or two strands unspun yarn. So it's a nice rustic yarn. And so her gauge was a little bit different than what I have here, which I'll show you in a minute. But, okay, so here goes, full confession. Even though this is a very tiny and pathetic stash to most, for me, this is a big stash because I also spin. So what I haven't shown you is what's in here, or what's over on that wall, or what's in this ottoman. There's wool all over this house. So I need to use stuff up. So I would love to buy more unspun yarn. This is, oh, it's just amazing. I would love to knit with more unspun yarns, but I think I need to make a dent in what I have. And so what I decided to do, I had some of this and some of this. So this is barefoot wool. I mean, it's not painful. I have a beautiful stash. It's not beautiful. It's not hard to, you know, knit with beautiful yarns, but you know, you kind of have that pull. You always want something new. This is barefoot. Is it barefoot yarns? Barefoot wools. Anyway, you know which one I mean. This is really nice stuff. This is their breakfast. Is it breakfast DK? Or is it breakfast sock? Anyways, this is their DK yarn. I bought it several years ago. I knit a sweater with it. It was worn by my husband. It shrunk a little bit. It was worn by me till the hems were ragged and falling apart. And then it's too fancy of a yarn, so I didn't want to just... So I took the sweater apart. And now there's more of it up there. Is there more of it up there? Yeah. Now I'm making myself a sweater with it. So there's this, and I think in here is, I don't even know what the wool is. I want to say Targhee or Columbia or something, and silk and yak. I mean, it's a luxury yarn. So I'm glad that I'm able to reuse it to make this sweater. That is going to be really nice. This is kind of thin. And I might be able to wear it in the spring a little bit, although it's not very spring colors, but eh. And then for the color work, I'm using this, which is a hand spun. This is my first Angora rabbit. Her name was Pistache, and she was I want to say cream color, mixed with a lamb's wool. So this I think was 11 or 13% blend. So you can see it's a little bit fuzzy. I don't know how I'm going to show you that. Hold on. Let's show you against something. Can you see the fuzz? No, I don't think so. Anyhow, it's a little bit fuzzy. It's a little bit, it blooms up. All right, it's something dark to show you here. I don't know, can you see that little halo? So what I'm hoping is whenever I block the sweater, the white bits are just going to fuzz up just a little bit. Anyhow, I'll put a link to this pattern. It's a beautiful pattern. I mean, I really like hers because she did hers like, it was like an undyed charcoaly brown main color, and then for the contrast color, she used, I think, like a warm gray. So it's not as stark a contrast as this one. It's really, really beautiful. But this is what I had. Also, this yarn is a lot thinner, so I had to fudge the numbers a little bit. I'm hoping it fits. If anything, right now it might be a bit big, which is fine. Obviously, I'm fine with that. I like big sweaters. It's nice and comfy. I was hoping for something a little bit more fitted with this one, but we'll see how it turns out. I'll be happy with it, I think, either way. It's really lovely yarn. And it's lighter. I mean, this is lightweight, but this is like a really bulky, I think this was size 6 needles. 5, 6. It's like a bigger sweater. And this will be a finer knit. What am I knitting this on? It's still on, I think, 3 3/4 or something. I don't know. I never know these things. If I could see. Oh, it's 4mm. It's on 4mm needles. So it's still a pretty heavy gauge, but yeah. So hopefully it all works out. I know I'm not a very organized, is this podcast? I don't know, organized podcaster. When it comes to knowing exactly the gauge and the needles and the yarn, even with my spinning, I don't always know exactly the gauge I'm spinning to. So I'll do a swatch and see how I like the fiber, and then I'll try to find a pattern that sort of fits it, but I rarely do really serious gauge swatching or anything like that. And I know other spinners also are sometimes like this. You just kind of fudge it until it fits. Does that make sense? It's not very precise, is it? I guess it's not a very nice way to describe it, but that's me. I knit for the process. I like having it, I like knitting. I like having it in my hands. I like working on it. I like the product. I like being able to make my own things. I think that the fiber end of it, the spinning, the animals, all that stuff, that's really the thing that gets me excited. The numbers, not so much interested in this. So yeah, I just have to undo things a lot, I guess. So I wish I had the patience to sit down and, instead of knitting, plan out my project for an evening, 2 evenings, however many evenings people do this. I just can't be bothered. Like this sweater, I haven't even washed it yet. I haven't blocked it. I've worn it, I don't know, 3, 4 times now. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't change shape too much when I wash it. Anyways, it's pretty terrible. Okay, how are we doing for time? We're already at half an hour, so I was gonna do a stash dive, but I don't have much of a stash, right? Like, this is it. That's it. I did knit my very dear friend, a cowl with this handspun that I made. And I think she loves it. It's a very light little cowl, not like the big security blankets I wear. She just wanted something small and lightweight to put under her jacket. And I'm not sure how much of a wool person she is. So this is actually a really high percentage of Angora. But I did this with it. So it's really lofty and not heavy. And I did add some merino to this and some white targhee, I think. And so, yeah, that's how this one turned out. And it's coming up pretty true, a little bit blown out, but yeah, this was really fun. I don't know what I'll do with the rest of it. This one has 72 yards left. It's really beautiful. Yeah, it was really fun to knit with. Yeah. As for acquisitions, even though I just went on and on about how I don't have time and I'm not doing as many creative things as I would like, I still have snuck in a fair bit of spinning. And I did start some of my West Coast color top as well. My dog's gonna, here she comes. She's gonna knock everything around. Can you not do that? She's gonna try to get this from me. So as I had shown in my last video, I think for Christmas for myself, I decided I really needed to quick grab, one of everything that was in West Coast Colors shop update, because they don't have a lot of shop updates, and her stuff is just gorgeous. I love all of it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it all. I think I want to blend some with some Angora. I was thinking about selling some bats maybe. So, sort of. I've been spinning some singles. I need actually, so speaking of changing lives, because now I need more sort of dressed up wear. I didn't understand why before everyone knit so many shawls. Like, I've only ever had one or two on the go at a time, thinking I have one neck. But it's because I would wear it hiking or, to clients or whatever. But now I have a job where I'd like to wear one all day. And if I wear the same one every day. So I've been spinning for a shawl. Yeah, I can show that in another episode. It's getting a little bit long. So I have been spinning my beautiful Christmas stash that I got myself. But then I also had a birthday. And Akara Yarns posted, and she posted a picture of these. Look at this. Look at these. Isn't that delicious? It's called Sidewalk Chalk. It's Rabouillet. So I got 3 braids at 100 grams. So I have 300 grams of these beauties. Look at this. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. It's going to be so fun to spin. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know. Just sits on a shelf and looks like spring. It's really nice. It's really nice. It's really soft. It's really fine. Yeah. There's a sweater. I think it's called Simple. That Mimi Must Knit she got me onto. And I thought, oh, maybe. But that's kind of far in the future because I have to spin for it and then knit it. Yeah, this is what it is when you're a spinner. Anyway, I also, soon I will make another video, and I wanted to ask people's opinions about some of this in my stash here, because I think I need a Lopi sweater with some leftover Lopi, and I have some beautiful hand dyeds here that I was thinking about making like an Andrea Mowry sweater. Not sure, but I think it's getting long enough for today. So, just talk about one more thing that I wanted to mention. Which is my rabbits. And the dog is eyeing me because she wants to come in. Okay, so as I mentioned, you can see here. As I mentioned, I own 2 English Angora rabbits. They're from Show Lines. So one of them especially is from Show Lines. So they are massively productive rabbits. This is 2 molts off of one of my rabbits. This one's off of Sova, so I keep it in its own little basket. And she's molting again. This was 2 molts of Bosco. There's only so much Angora one person can handle. So, if there's anyone here, I'm thinking, I don't know, like Etsy is difficult now. I don't know if I want to go on Etsy. I don't know. I'm not sure. So I'm thinking here, if any of you are spinners and you would like to give some beautiful Angora a go, this one is the warmer toned one. Sova, she's the chestnut. I'm going to see if I can get a staple length for you here. Let me see. It's a warmer gray beige. If you've not tried spinning Angora before, I will say it's sort of like Surrey alpaca or alpaca haikuya, but like really soft, or like baby alpaca. So my rabbits do have a bit of crimp to them, so it's not so slippery as some. Did I say alpaca? My rabbits, my Angoras. So this is the staple length here. You can see the dark tips. You can see here. I have not carded any of this. It's not clipped, so I just comb them. you can see here the little bunches. I just comb them and take the molting fiber, take the fiber that's coming off. So I don't clip them, so there are no second cuts in this fiber, which can be really annoying when you're spinning a luxury fiber and then you just end up with a bunch of bits. They are cage free. This is only the premium fiber, so there's no cheek or belly or any messy bits. Not that they have very many messy bits. And then for their litter box, I do use pine shavings, like large pine shavings. So let me see if I can find some here. So you can see there's no VM at all, pretty well at all. But see here, there's one. Nope, that's not it. That's just dark brown. I'll see if I can find a little bit of pine shaving. Sometimes, very infrequently. Oh, here's a little piece. Can you see there's a tiny little piece of pine right there? Not very often you'll come across it. It just falls out when you spin. So it isn't like bits of hay or seed heads or anything that are like all tangled in. There are no neps in here. There are no mats. There's nothing from their back end. This is just what you'd call in an alpaca, I guess you'd call the blanket, right? The saddle. So I'm thinking that if anybody would like to try some before I turn it over to Etsy or one of these places, if you would be interested in trying some, if you want to, you can contact me over Instagram, or you can just put in the comments below. The going price for this sort of fiber is about $8 an ounce on the low end, and I've seen it as high as $15 an ounce on the high end. I would say this is pretty high end. I'm thinking I'm going to aim between 10, 12, would I say 11? I don't know. I don't necessarily want to profit from it, but I have too much of it. And it's like, this is pretty. This is one lock here. So yeah, so contact me if you'd be interested in some. Generally, if you're going to card it into your wool, or if you've never worked with it before or ask questions, you don't usually want it 100% by itself. It has zero drape pretty well. It has zero memory. It's just drape. So a lot like Suri alpaca. It's not the easiest thing to spin per se. It's sort of like silk and those sort of really fine fibers. You can see it's floating through the air. And a little does go a really long way. It makes things extra warm. It's warmer than wool. So that white that I showed you here, this one, which is still very fuzzy, it was only 11% Angora. And it's still, you can see the Angora like it's blooming right out. The other thing to note is that these are English Angoras. So if you notice, I don't have those hairs sticking out like those, those 80s sweaters with all the hairs, because the French Angora has a lot of guard hair. So you get those sort of hairs, those looks like cat hairs, like those guard hairs sticking out. English Angora isn't like that. It's just like a soft fuzz halo. Because they have very little guard hair. So yeah, if you're interested, get in contact and I will see what I can do about getting you some. Other than that, I think I should cut it. That was going to be short and we're at 39 minutes almost. So yeah, I guess next time I'd like to go over some dream projects and maybe go through my stash. Yeah, I don't know, but I think I have to do more frequent, like just to kind of stay on top of it, like just do more frequent little, maybe more casual things, like share what I'm doing in shorter videos, because it does feel really overwhelming to think like, oh, I haven't done this in months, and I don't know, and then you kind of, you lose the habit. Not that I have a habit, I think this is only my 5th video or something. But in my previous job, I used to make videos a lot, and it worked a lot better for me if I just quick grab a camera and shared little bits of my life than these long, sort of planned out videos. It's very hard for me to get a stretch of time this long where my house is quiet. I think a car just pulled into my driveway, so good timing. And my dog actually has been pretty cooperative. She's not usually. Is it? Hi. Yeah, anyways, if you're still here, thank you for staying with me today. And if you're interested in some Angora fiber, let me know. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. And really, just thanks for hanging out. Happy knitting.